Good morning, everybody. It's a little bit later than my normal time out here. I got up, had breakfast, said goodbye to everybody leaving for work. Of course, this is the only real work that I do. I do occasional acting bits, but nobody's working right now. I hear that may end this month, but I'm hearing all kinds of stuff about what's going to happen this month. We've got three scenarios, basically. There will be a rapture, there won't be a rapture, or the answer will be not yet. Should have got out here earlier, the bugs sleep in. So what's going to happen? The celebrated time, Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, starts on the 15th. But we got everybody telling us that the date's not right, that they have fudged their calendar so much they don't really know what time it is anymore. So it can be the 17th, 18th, 19th. It's coming up. All the basic holidays, if you will, or the festivals, these are celebrations, most of them. We've already gotten past the 9th of Av, so we're not looking at that. That's not a celebration. Okay, come on, bugs. Gnats. I may need to go get my bug spray. There's mosquitoes interlaced in those, so I gotta watch. Anyhow, this is going to be an interesting month. Nothing may happen again. We've been looking for 6 years since the Revelation 12 sign. But after Rosh Hashanah, we're into the 7th year. Is it going to happen during the 7th year or at the end of the 7th year? Do we still have one more year to go? I don't see how the numbers work out that way. I'm seeing that it really has to be this year. But we've thought that every year since the Revelation 12 sign. God doesn't give us the details. He tells us to trust Him. So we are. Things are starting to ramp up around the world as far as other things. Another earthquake in Morocco, 2,000 or 3,000 dead from that. We had the big one last year with Turkey. Was that earlier this year or last year? I don't remember. It's all becoming a blur. Massive flooding around the world. China's got flooding big time. Okay, that was a mosquito. I'm going to go get my bug spray and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And yeah, I've got my red socks shirt on. Every time I wear this, I think of my dad because he played for them. Anyhow, I'm just talking in this video. We're not going to go over scriptures. We've done this. We know all this stuff. I've talked about it repeatedly. I'll get back on it on my next video, but I just wanted to point out the fact that things are not normal out there. They're being so blatant about everything that they're doing now. They don't care who knows. Our illustrious puppet, Biden, is giving $6 trillion to Iran in exchange for prisoners. And he says, well, you have to use it for humanitarian aid. Well, the Ayatollahs just, after getting the money, you're going to tell him, we're spending it on whatever we want. I said, that's $6 trillion. We were at 20 trillion. Are we at 26? Are they shooting for 30 trillion before they crash the dollar? Your dollar is going to be worthless. You won't be able to buy anything. Now, that might comply with the wheat and barley for a denarius, a day's wage for a loaf of bread. That might comply with that. If he crashes the dollar around the world, that's what it's going to cost. Now, they may come in and fix it with digital money, but for a moment in time, before they fix it, That's how much your dollar will be worth. You'll be taking it in wheelbarrows. And then eventually they're going to probably call it all in. Remember what they did with the silver certificate ones? People were cashing those in and getting silver because they had to honor that. They quickly called all the money in, came up with a whole bunch themselves, cashed it in, took the silver, and put it away for later. Our government has been going downhill for some time. Just think back when we used to have, I was talking about this morning, when we used to have things in class that we don't have anymore. We could have prayer in class. We would recite the Pledge of Allegiance or any other good thing that they would have us say. I don't remember what all we used to say, but there was a number of them. They would vary them up. We used to have home ec, a decent PE, auto shop, wood shop, metal shop, letting people decide what they wanted to do. But then they decided, why don't we make it so that no other trade is any good? No trade is any good. If you don't have a degree, you're worthless. Then they put you in these schools of indoctrination. I need to pray for my older son because I think he's picked up too many bad habits from there. He's still commuting to San Francisco to work because that's where a lot of his team is, but he lives basically in north of Chicago on the lake with his wife's family there. In any case, everything is going to hell in a handbasket, as they say. They've cordoned off the area around the Maui fire, put a big black fence up around it, won't let anybody in. They're banning drones, they're banning everything. It's becoming as secretive as a flyover over the Capitol. You're not supposed to know what they're doing. And they've banned the drones around it long enough that you can't even get up at an angle and shoot down into it. They don't want you to know what they're doing. Very secretive. They're going to turn it into a resort town for the rich, because the rich come right up to where that fire was. And they have homes there. Mansions, I should say. Don't worry, we got bigger mansions than they have, or better ones anyway. Jesus is getting them ready, or he's probably already got them ready, because he's got to keep track of what's going on now. We're getting earthquakes all over, small ones, but all over the United States. Our main continental plate is moving. They had a 5.6, I think it was, in Northern California, up by Redding and up in that area. That's not where the big fault is, but that's where there's a volcano. There's active volcanoes in California. We have them in Alaska. Of course, there's active volcanoes in Hawaii. So we have some volcanic activity to consider. But it's getting ready to cut loose. We're told that they're going to be massive on the sixth seal. Mountains will fall down, collapse, be knocked down. In order to take a mountain down, that's a major quake. That's going to be an 8 or above. That's coming. We're not going to be here. But we do need to be alert. We need to be ready. Don't let these things scare you. We're told repeatedly by Jesus not to be afraid of these times. Don't be fooled by the liars, and there are plenty of them out there. The media basically is becoming nothing but lies. They either dodge the question or they lie. What's the young Deucey's name? Can't remember now. These guys were, good reporters back when they were good reporters working. His dad and him were both good reporters, and he always has good questions, but they shut him down. I'm surprised they let him in. They haven't completely taken over the media. And of course, they know that they're competing, and they have to have some appearance of trying to be correct. Because they're competing with the Blaze TV. I keep telling you, you need to be watching Glenn Beck and his entourage there. Tucker's over there now on Blaze TV. You want to get good reporting, you watch them. Megyn Kelly and her show. There's still good people out there. You just have to find them. Don't get discouraged. Don't think it's time to sit back and do nothing. It's actually, if you ever run a race, and I've talked about, I used to run. I don't like track as much because it's boring. I'd rather do cross country. But if you're running a race and you got to run 4 laps, you got to start off and set your pace when you take off. I remember when I was a little kid and I had to do my very first race. This is back when the president came up with the national fitness thing, and you all had to go out and qualify and do things. I went out there and I had never run a track race before. This is before, I'm in elementary school. This is before junior high and high school where I started doing some running. I took off running as fast as I could. I was way ahead of everybody for 3/4 of a lap. And then it dawned on me that I didn't have the energy to keep that up. I started slowing down and slowing down. By the time I got done with a lap and a half, people were catching up with me. When I crossed the finish line, everybody else was across the finish line but me. I learned real quickly, you pace yourself. But where I'm getting at is when you get down to where you've got a half a lap, 3/4 of a lap, you turn it into a sprint. And you're sprinting the way I took off. You're sprinting all the rest of the way. That's why when people cross the finish line, they just drop to their knees. They're exhausted. You save that initial sprint till the end so that you can then pass everybody else. We're at that point. You need to be sprinting to the finish line. Paul ran a good race. Now, I don't know how well he could have sprinted at the age that he was. I can't sprint now. I still got a bad knee I haven't taken care of. But I could increase my speed a little bit. As long as it's on level ground, I can do okay if I stay straight. If I twist, my knee doesn't like that. But if it's level ground or even slightly downhill, just slight, I'm okay. My knee has basically been bone to bone for a number of years, and it's wearing out and it wants to bend backwards. No, it's not fun. When I ran my race, I told you this before I had my right knee replaced, I ran a 5K the week before. The last 7,500 yards of it was up a slight grade. We ran around it's a business park, but it's a shopping center, I guess I should say. It has all the core stores in it. Delks and all the other pennies and all that, it's all that, and they got a food court in the middle. It's one of those. We ran around it 2.5 times to get our 5K in. The last part of it was coming up into the parking lot to a little bit of a raised area, and then it flattened out. I couldn't run forward up that because my knee was bending backwards. I turned around and ran backwards up that hill. I don't know what my time was. It was probably like 23, 24 minutes. That's not a good finish for a 5K. You got to be down 17, 16, 15, 14, something good. I'm well beyond that. But, and there were guards there at the gate that knew who the leaders were so they wouldn't, because the turn-in was on the route. You had to go around 2 times before you could go around that last half a time and come in. It's good when you can do things for exercise to stay in shape. It pays off in the long run. I don't have any anticipation of living as long as my parents. Not because I don't think I'm physically fit. I don't think we have that much time. They lived into their 90s. That's still 20 years from now for me. We're not going to be here that long. Now, will I come back? How do we calculate age? If we're going to go up to heaven and come back, we're going to get our new bodies. Then we're going to be down here for 1,000 years. Are we going to remember our original birth date? I don't know. I don't know that I want to. God's going to do what's best for us. There may be a secret archive that we can go sneak into with His permission from time to time and just look at our old videos of ourselves. I'm sure all this is recorded in God's mind someplace. Or are we going to just completely forget about it? There are things I don't want to see. I don't know. God's got all the answers, and He knows us better than we do, so He will take care of us. That's all you got to believe. Don't worry about it. All the tears will be wiped away. We will be all smiles. We will be happy. We will be with the Lord. If there's a billion or more of us Christians going to make the rapture, it's going to take time to get all the hugs in. You know that. We may just be fist bumping. Next bump. Move along, move along. I'm being somewhat playful with God at this point. I'm sure we're going to all get our hugs in somewhere. We have eternity to do this. It may be year 10 million, but we get it. God has everything planned out. Everything. He knows exactly every leaf on this tree when it's going to fall. These trees, I should say. Everything is numbered, I guess. The hair on our head is numbered. The stars are numbered. The Carl Sagan, billions and billions of stars. And actually, he should have had all the modern technology. Then it would be, what is it? Mega for millions. There's the peta for the next number up of after a billion. It's mega, billion, trillion. I'm trying to I don't visualize, so I can't. I'm trying to picture a whiteboard, and it's not working well. So above trillion, there's the next one. That's the peta. There's like 2 more numbers after that. There's numbers that we can't even visualize. Our government's hoping we can't visualize $30 trillion because they just throw these numbers around like they're nothing. How about putting out each one of us individually is in debt $100,000 in what the government owes. The government's going to go broke. What's going to happen to us with Social Security? Is that going to go digital? Or are they going to throw it away and starve anybody of retirement age? We know what's going on. We would be a good group to get rid of. Don't worry. They're not going to do anything to us. But it's the people after us. The ones that do not accept Christ the first time. And that's the way God works. He gives you an opportunity up front to do what's right. If you don't take it, He'll let you wander around, bumping into things because you don't know what you're doing. He'll come back to you a second time and a third. But eventually, if He's got a plan for you, He'll go after you like he did Jonah. You can't hide from God. He knows where you're at. And if you take a look at the universe, how big it is, and he created everything and knows everything in it, and we're this itty-bitty microscopic little dot. You think he can't manage that? And he's got helpers. He could do everything himself, but he's got helpers called angels. There's different types, different purposes. We're going to be part of the priestly group at some point. He's going to give us tasks. Are we going to make perfect decisions? I don't know how our new brain is. We're not going to have a sin nature, but we also have to communicate with God, and we're going to have a perfect channel to make sure we talk to him. This person's wanting this. What do you know? I know what I'd like to do, but what would you like me to do? I don't know how this is going to run. It's going to be run with an iron fist. He's going to overturn a lot of money tables. But how we're going to rule with an iron fist too, because we're going to carry out his wishes. I don't know the details. I sit and think about that sometimes. Everything is planned. Everything is scheduled. God knows, even though I talked about it last time, not knowing the day or the hour has nothing to do with the rapture. It's purely his second coming. But nothing says anything about when the rapture is. We have some timelines. We have the Revelation timeline. Satan coming to earth with a third of his angels. We know the things that are happening. We know what the seals are. And they're in the tribulation time frame. And again, I like to point out that there's two versions of the tribulation. Some believe we've gone through half of it. Some believe, and so the other half is to come. So we only have to have 3.5 years. Well, that changes our timeline. And if we're still shooting for 2030, then that gives us a few more years down here. I don't believe that. I currently think that we still have the full tribulation, because God does things in sevens. He doesn't do things in 3.5s. Not historically. But either way is okay. We're still going to the same place. That's the key. If you got the gospel, you're okay. If you don't have the gospel, you're going to hell in a handbasket. There's still time. There's time until you see him in the skies coming to get everybody. That's when he's going to sort for the last rapture. There's 3. He's going to save us in the beginning from the troubles down here. He's going to save the group in the middle. And at the very end, he's just going to collect everybody that's going to heaven off the earth. And then he's going to destroy the earth. Once the 1,000 years are over, this earth is no longer useful. He'll allow Armageddon and the final stuff to happen. All that stuff's still out there. But eventually this planet's going to be burned up. How? I don't know. A new heaven and a new earth. Is it out there somewhere in all this? Is he going to get rid of everything as far as we can see with the telescope? Trillions of light years out, is he going to get rid of everything? Or has he just got a new place someplace else? A new galaxy, a new solar system. One that will look different than what we've got. I don't know. He created the first one and we're not really sure how he did it. Did he do it with the Big Bang? I don't know. Makes a good TV show, but I don't know if that's the way God created anything. We're finding things that are contradictory now. The new telescope has a farther reach. And they know that it takes so many billions of years for a galaxy to form. A billion years to form whatever it is. 10% of that time, they've found galaxies that are out there that shouldn't have formed. If the figure going back in time is getting further and further away, they could be wrong on their interpretation. That can be easy. We don't understand most of what we see. But we do know a lot. God is visible in everything that we look at. For anybody to deny him is simply to believe the lie. Satan has two goals: to defeat God and his plan, and to elevate himself above God. He doesn't care which one happens first. If he defeats God, he will then elevate himself if necessary. He wants to defeat God. He thinks he's smarter than God. That's funny. He's repeatedly shown that he's not. So don't let him buffalo you either. He's not smarter than God. We can pretty much all agree on that. Satan's not. Hell is not better than heaven. We can pretty well have these standards across all religions. And we have the Spirit of God in us, so therefore he's no better than we are. We're better than he is, because we have the Spirit of God in us. See how that connection works? If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. Been years since I've had a math class, but still remember that. And I spent most of my life without using calculus. All right. This is just another chat, talking about things going on around us. They're getting worse. They're about ready to cut loose. Millions of people are going to die with what's coming. We're going to give the one world government folks, they want to eliminate 80% of the people. We're going to give them what they want. God is, to a degree. Not the way they want it, but they're going to get their wish. God's going to start eliminating people. People that have no chance of accepting Christ. There are plenty of them out there, unfortunately. Pray for the world. Don't get involved physically. It's not a physical war. Pray for the world. Pray for those that are still here, that know Christ, will survive and not be beat down by the devil. And once we're gone, pray for the rest that are still here. There are future Christians left behind. We're the biggest bulk going to go away. You take that much of the Spirit away from the earth, what are you leaving behind? Weak or non-Christians. And I'm not going to say that they're Christians, but just they're so weak that they couldn't even become a Christian. They have to learn a little bit more. There won't be Christians left behind. If you are a good Christian, I know I shouldn't even say the word good. If you are a Christian, you're going in the rapture. You don't even have to be a good one. God will not let you commit, as a Christian, he won't let you commit the abominable sin. So you're going to stay a Christian. It's called eternal life for a reason. But if you're not a Christian, if you haven't committed, you can say the words. I'm a bullfrog. Does that make me a bullfrog? No. Ribbit. Oh, you must be talking about Jeremiah. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. He's a good friend of mine. I know, I'm dating myself. Okay, that's enough of that. It isn't long. It potentially is any time. And I mean any time, because I don't think that the rapture is going to coincide with a Jewish event, but it might precede it. It might trigger it. We are the church. The church age is going to end, and when the church is gone, the church age ends. Is there any reason to delay the 70th week? I don't see any reason. So my guess is we will probably be pulled out of here just before a Jewish event. That's my guess. And it's a guess, so it could be. And it's the spring festivals have already gone. They've already been fulfilled. The fall festivals haven't. They have yet to be fulfilled, and they will be. Well, we have Rosh Hashanah, Feast of Trumpets, Tabernacles, Yom Kippur. All these are coming up. These are the fall Jewish events. I would think we'd get out of here before they start. So watch for it. As these events are coming up, be looking up. In Jesus' name, amen.